Hi everyone and welcome. Day 1 in the Max program.
Caroline Girvan's Max program. I have been working out with Caroline Girvan since 2020. I made countless videos on this YouTube channel because I've completed nearly every single workout on her YouTube channel, as well as the majority of her workouts in her CGX app. And so today I want to share with you Max, the newest, latest program in the Caroline Girvan series. It is available on her CGX app. And as someone who has lost over 40 pounds naturally, and Caroline's workouts have been a pretty pivotal piece of that puzzle for me in terms of the workout portion, I think it's really important that I just kind of share with you guys so you know what you're getting when you're going in. So if you are ready, let's jump in. So what is Max? Max is a 10-week 50 workout program on the CGX app. As I have mentioned, it is on the CGX app, which does require a subscription. If you don't already have a subscription to CGX, you do get a week-long free trial. No, I'm sorry. It's a 2-week free trial. I'll link my review of the app in case you want it somewhere on the screen, so that if you want to see a full review of the app just itself, that will be available as a resource to you when you're finished with this video, because that could be really helpful if you're like, well, how do I navigate to the app? So I'll leave that video. But this is a video on the app, and this is the very first series of its kind for Caroline because it was a full body splits. And if you don't know what that means, that just means that every single workout is a full body split. So rather than having like an upper day, a lower day, or like a push-pull leg or push-pull leg full, or, some sort of variation of that, each workout is going to have full body movements through the series. And this time she did change up the pacing a little bit. Her rest days in the app are on Wednesdays, so it might change how you start the program. For me personally, I decided to start the program a week late, and then I think I took a vacation, maybe. I think I just took a week off. I can't remember. But anyway, I ended up finishing it like a week late. But the program never expires. It's there on the app to do at the timing and pacing that works best for you. But the protocol for all of Caroline's programs are 5-day-a-week workouts. And in this case, it was Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. Each day, even though it was all full body, each day offered something different and was a little bit different variety or spin on full body. So don't just think that you're going to repeat the same workout 5 different times in a week, because you're certainly not. And she really did a nice job of like targeting different muscle groups on different days of the week. So like one day it might be full body with like higher, sets and like slightly less weight, or you might find a day where it was more like heavier lifting, strength training, and it's a variation between the different kinds sort of as you progress through the week. So the first 4 days of the week were a traditional full body, and then on the Friday workout, or like the 5th day of the week workout, is when she did the accessory work. So that's when you're going to see things like abs, or, those accessory muscle groups really being targeted and work. So that's probably going to be your quote unquote easiest day of the week. Although abs are really hard for me to this day. I hate abs. So I hate ab workouts. I do. It just is what it is. I used to like ab workouts before I had a child. And now that I have a child, I hate ab workouts. Because they're hard and they suck. The point is, there are abs in the series. They're just going to fall on your last day of the week. Hey guys, if you're finding this video useful or helpful in some way, could you do me a huge favor and give it a thumbs up? It just let YouTube know it's useful and helpful, so we'll share it out to others of us who love training and maybe even just love Caroline Girvan. It's going to run you about 40 minutes in duration from start to finish. You are going to get your typical sort of going over the process, going over what you're going to be doing to get everything ready, and then you are going to get your cool down. There's no warm up included. You kind of warm up on your own. As I've said about 1,000 times at this point, I always work out where I warm up on my own while she's talking through the setup, and then I do the cool down with her. So that is sort of how each one is set up. Even though it is full body, they're all about 40-ish minutes from start to finish. So, slightly longer than a few of the other series, like when you're thinking like Heat, or I can't remember what all is 30 minutes right now. Heat, Fuel on YouTube, Iron is 30 minutes, things like that. Those are 30 minutes. This one is closer to like 40, maybe even up to 45 minutes. So something to consider in terms of when you're choosing how much time you have to lift. And, it's one of those things where I think people say they're going to get bored because they're doing like the same different kinds of things. But I really do feel like, in spite of the fact that it was full body every single day, it felt like a good variety and amount. And, you know, people feel differently about Caroline. So, you know, I personally really love Caroline, but if you're not a fan of her work, obviously you're probably not going to like Max and you're not going to scrub the app. So, you know, I'm just going to make the assumption here that you like Caroline workouts. I took some notes as I do. So let me give you the recommended equipment for this one. So dumbbells, a mat, glute band, stability ball, or the like slider discs. You can also use paper plates on a hardwood floor or like kitchen tile floor. It will also work if you don't have the money for sliders or a stability ball. FYI, in case you'd like to torture yourself in that way, that is an option, just so you know. I've done it. It definitely works. Maybe a little too well. Then she also mentions as like optional suggestions, a bench and a barbell. And as I've mentioned to you guys in the past, I use my Booty Sprout. I don't think it's on camera right now, but I use my Booty Sprout. That's what I use for hip thrusts rather than using a barbell. And this time I opted to do something different. I used my bands. I used my like big bands that I used when I did peach gains a couple years back to do rather than like the glute bridges, rather than switching them to hip thrusts. I opted to do glute bridges with the bands, and I kind of regret that because I feel like with the bands, you're really missing out on a good, decent portion of the movement by using those type of bands. Like with the way that the Booty Sprout works, you're missing out on some of the pressure, but because you're lifting the bands up and then putting them back down, you have relatively constant tension. But when you're using something like this, when you get to the bottom of the movement, like you've lost all of the tension that you had. So like, unless you stay pulsed at the top, you're really not getting as full of a movement. Like you're really missing out on the lowering portion of building the muscle. So I don't feel like that was the best move for me, but I just didn't want to do hip thrusts, quite frankly. But I do regret that. I think I would have seen more muscle growth. Although I'm in a season of maintenance right now. I'm really not trying to bulk. I'm really not trying to cut. I'm just really trying to like live my life. My current life is stressful enough without adding the stress of a cut. So I am kind of just in a maintenance season. I'm trying to maintain the muscle I have. I'm not super focused on like building a whole bunch of new muscle or anything like that. So it really just depends on the kind of season of life that you're in. And I will take some like before and after shots and just kind of show you. But again, I'm not really expecting to see much of a difference because I really am just kind of trying to live in maintenance right now. But I do think this is absolutely a reasonable program that you could definitely build muscle from. You will definitely walk away if you are using this program well. You definitely will walk away building some muscle. So don't think that you won't just because it's a different type of split. And someone had asked recently somewhere in a comment if I felt like it was hard with like soreness and stuff for Max. And I'm probably not the one to ask. I don't say that disrespectfully. It's just that my body has just adapted to me working out 5 days a week. So unless I'm just like really pushing it, or I'm just super under recovered, I don't tend to really like feel a workout because I'm doing kind of the same stuff pretty consistently. So I haven't had issues with recovery or soreness, but I think if you're concerned about that, then you kind of just want to assess where you are in your season of training. But soreness doesn't necessarily equal bad, but not soreness doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't have a good workout. Like I'm sure I had plenty of good workouts in here, even though I wasn't sore the next day. So soreness is not necessarily an indicator of a good workout, but it's not also not. Does that even make any sense? But my point being is just because I'm not sore doesn't mean I didn't get a good workout. I just have adapted. My body has adapted to 5 day a week training protocol. So I think if I took a break and went back to this, it would probably be sore a little bit. But I just find, honestly, when I do get sore, that the best thing for me to do is just to keep pushing and just to keep doing it because I get less sore the more I do. And I often find that on a day I am sore, if I move my body instead of taking a rest day, like even if I'm doing like some yoga or Pilates or like some like stretching or, something less intensive, that still makes me feel better in moving my body than just sitting. When I sit, I feel like I get stiff. So, just like my recovery advice from me to you, take that with what you will. But what else did I want to say? Oh, and somebody asked me, what the hardest day of Max was. That's really hard to say. One of the days that I did Max with, while I was filming for my other video, the Stacey Sims video, what day was that? I don't remember. It was like one of the days in the 40s. Well, good morning, loves. Man, Max day 34 was spicy. Whew. Oh, in a good way though. that was pretty tough. I mean, there was like a spiciest day of the week workout, but you can usually kind of tell what those are going to be when you're dealing with like a lot of lunges or squats or like heavy lifting. You can sort of tell based on, you know, what you're programming in there. And I did feel like the programming in this series was less complicated than Rev. Rev felt kind of all over the place to me. And especially when you're talking about like doing circuit training and stuff like that, that just feels like complicated and more intensive to me. And this just felt way simpler. And I personally prefer that. I didn't dislike Rev. I liked Rev a lot, but I'll link that video too if you want to see it. You know, I liked Rev a lot too. It's just a very different kind of series than Rev. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she has coming up in September for the new release. Although I'm not sure how I'll be participating in that since I am running a Disney 5K in the fall and I need to be training for that because I have notoriously not been a runner.
Was an absolutely terrible idea. Holy crap. I forgot how much I hate running. And I can't tell you the last time I ran. Holy crap. Okay. I can't talk to you right now. I gotta go. I'll come back.
So I absolutely intend to train for this 5K. So I'll take you guys along in some form or fashion. If there's something specific you'd like me to cover, in terms of like my training, do you want training vlogs? Do you want training and vlogs in one day? Kind of let me know what you want to see from that because it is definitely going to impact my training when I start adding in running because I haven't been running. Like my cardio looks completely different from running. So it is certainly going to change the way that I lift and the way that I train just sort of overall as I'm training for this 5K. So let me know what you want to see from that. And if you found this video useful or helpful in some way, I'd love if you would subscribe. Let me be your 130-pound friend who comes alongside you to help you reach your goals. Wow, that was fast and didn't make a whole lot of sense. All right, bye, friends.